Today I weighed in at the lightest weight I have been in 3 years. I'm on a cut right now, and this is my gallon of water tracker, so I'm gonna be drinking this throughout the video because I need to finish it before the end of the day. But I made a realization about me being able to finally get down to an adequate weight that I'm actually able to look myself in the mirror and realize that I'm not lying to myself at every single moment. For the longest time, I was convinced that my porn addiction wasn't that bad, that my weed addiction wasn't that bad, that going out on the weekends and drinking wasn't that bad, and that my 3 hours plus a day of social media doom scrolling wasn't that bad. And yet those were the exact same things that kept me stuck for the longest time. It was lying to myself and others about the fact that I was on a cut, or not mentioning the fact that I had a porn addiction to other people, or telling people that I was disciplined just because I went to the gym, even though for 2 solid years I made zero progress because I was cutting corners at every single step of the way. I was eating protein bars and these shitty Rise protein powders that were making me fucking feel like shit. And Lord knows if the nutritional content of protein on the supplement was actually accurate, nor was I even hitting my protein. But I would tell other people, and I'd walk around with my head high like I was the shit. Even though I was spiraling in silence. I was addicted to porn. I was addicted to chasing women for the sake of chasing women, and drinking alcohol each weekend just for the sake of getting out and having a good time. And I always made excuses because everyone around me was doing the exact same thing. But I can tell you, I studied abroad about a year ago in London, and I got cut off from all my friends, all my plugs, all the people that I would get my stuff from. And I started to not doubt God anymore. The things in the Bible started to make sense. Jesus saying, "It is done unto you as you have believed," started to make a lot more sense than this random mumbo-jumbo, man in the sky spiel that I used to think that the Bible was. Now, I don't want to say that smoking weed is the devil's lettuce or that going out and drinking alcohol is a sin, but I started to understand what sin really was. And it wasn't a damning to hell because the Bible says so. It was genuine advice. Because I remember chasing pussy until 4 a.m. in London because I could drink legally, and there was a hot lady who literally wouldn't have given me the time of day if I begged on my knees for it. That when I stayed out till 4 a.m. and I wasn't able to get a ride home. I almost wasn't able to get a ride home when I was out in London after I chased pussy all night. Spent $80 and virtually made no progress towards making myself a better person. And I remember sitting in that Uber and telling this guy of my dreams, of my goals, of getting my mom a house one day. And he told me, "You're a good son to do that." And here I am sitting in the Uber, drunk as fuck at 5 a.m., almost not getting home in a foreign country because I was lustful. And then I decided to be sober from alcohol. The next time I drank, I slept with a random woman who I met in the same night. And then we had falling outs for the next couple of weeks. Felt like shit. Every time I smoked weed, I would go into porn spirals. I would watch junk food. And I started logging my progress in a journal when I was in London. And I noticed that after I smoked weed, I'd make no progress for the next 2 or so weeks because life was meant to be lived, you know? Why shouldn't I relax and have a good time and smoke a little bit of weed? Until I realized that I was meant for something greater than smoking weed, watching porn, and chasing hoes, right? And only then did I start to understand the meaning of sin. It's an archery term for missing the mark. I was missing the mark. And you're probably missing the mark if any of the stuff I'm doing sounds similar to what you're doing. You are missing the mark. You are missing the point. Because I'm telling you, I've done all of those things and it's not fulfilling at all. In fact, it wasn't until I stopped doing all of those things that I started to see fruits of my labor, that my business started to attract more clients, that I started to get more consistent in the gym and make more progress, that I started to stop cutting corners and eating shitty protein bars with God knows what inside of them and eating real fucking food like I should. It was only when I annihilated these vices, it was only when I quit making excuses for myself, and it was only when I admitted to others around me that I was struggling with a porn addiction that it all faded away. It was only when I quit chasing women that a woman who I love very much takes care of me and is just about everything I could have ever wanted walked into my life. It was after I beat the lust. It was after I beat the weed addiction. It was after I beat the junk food addiction. It was after I quit making excuses for myself that everything just seemed to align. And it's a key concept of what you need to be able to understand if you actually want to make adequate progress in the gym, in your life, and in whatever it is you are doing on a day-to-day basis. You have to be intentional. You have to set a specific goal. You have to imagine where you're going to be if you keep watching porn every single night. You have to imagine how dark and deep that addiction is going to go until you inevitably aren't able to watch it anymore because something horrible happened to you, because you went that deep. How long until you start blacking out in fucking alleyways because you're drinking every weekend and you're just hanging out with the boys? How long until you aren't able to do anything but work a 9 to 5 and smoke weed? Because your tolerance can only get so high to the point where that's all you're doing, and you need to smoke the most concentrated dabs with the largest bongs to feel normal. Where does that lead you? Other than nowhere. And so I'm asking you to quit being a fucking pussy. Quit being enslaved by a plant. Quit being enslaved by your selfish desires. Because nothing is happening. You are going nowhere by smoking weed all the time. You're going nowhere by watching porn every night, staying up late, jacking off like a fucking loser. And I say this because I was there. And I always shamed myself for it. I was always like, oh my God, oh my God. Do you want to know what happened? Do you want to know how I quit it? I set a goal at the beginning of this year. I'm going to break my porn addiction. I set all these other goals. I made them specific. I made them measurable. I made them achievable. And I visualized where my life was going to be after I beat all those things. Because it's not brute force that keeps you from watching porn. It's not brute force that keeps you from going out with friends. It's not brute force that keeps you watching porn and smoking weed and scrolling social media at every given godforsaken fucking second. It's letting go. It's allowing yourself the shortcoming. It's knowing the tools, the mental tools to look at yourself, realize that you did it again, and to say, that's no longer who I am. It's the realization to go into the reflection of your day in a journal and to say, I'm glad I'm no longer that person. It's to visualize the version of yourself who is vice-free, who is cutting down weight, who is kicking ass in the gym, and is getting approached by other people saying to them, damn bro, you're fucking jacked. Like, that happened to me yesterday. Crazy shit. Like, it sounds like I'm bullshitting. I genuinely got my first fake natty accusation the other day. Crazy shit. And it's just because I quit making fucking excuses for myself. And I'm able to help clients break their vices. I'm able to help clients get through hard situations. And I'm able to give my clients the mental frameworks that they need to be able to forgive themselves instead of shaming themselves into perpetuating these negative cycles. Because I put my fucking head down when everyone else went out every weekend. Because I put my fucking head down to rest on my pillow instead of staying up watching porn and smoking weed with my friends. Because that is when more life is elicited. The Bible, it says, how do you know when it is a wolf in sheep's clothing? When the person who claims to be a sheep and seems to be safe is not eliciting more life. Look at your friend group around you. Do you want to live like them? Do you want to do that forever? Because if you don't want to do that forever, why are you still doing it now? If you don't want to be smoking weed in the next 10 years or the next 5 years, you don't want to be watching porn in the next 3 years or the next 2 years or the next month, why are you still doing it today? And so when you come across these circumstances, when you're battling with these vices that hold you back, that cause you to sin and miss the mark from what your God-given purpose in life is, which first should be personal development, and then second, your purpose will reveal itself, say to yourself, I won't watch porn today. I won't smoke weed today. And you can only begin to do that when you realize how much you've been harming yourself in the process. When you come to terms with the fact that it is not serving you anymore. When you tell those friends who want to go out, you tell them no. Because you are becoming somebody who fucking respects themselves. You gain self-respect by showing yourself respect. Why are you treating this body that was gifted to you like a fucking sewage system? Why are you feeding it these shitty processed protein bars and all of this garbage ass food and toxic inhalants and literal poison that is poisoning your brain, giving you brain fog, turning you into a fucking retard? Why are you doing that and expecting yourself to have self-respect? Because no good, respecting person would do that. And yet you sit back egotistically and think, oh, well, I mean, I can still make progress while I'm smoking weed. Oh yeah, man. I believed that too. And that's why I stayed put forever. That's why I didn't cut for 3 years, despite telling my friends around me that I was cutting and them starting to think I was bullshitting. Because I was breaking these promises to myself every single week, every single night. And I wondered, why can't I talk to girls? Not only was it because I was a porn-addicted fucking freak, but it was because I knew deep down I wasn't shit. And do you really think God, or whatever you want to call it, is going to give you a girlfriend if you watch porn every night? If you smoke weed every weekend, do you think she's going to stay with you? If you have no set direction in life, why would anyone want to be with you? How are you going to be a guiding light if you don't even know where the fuck you're going? You don't even have a vision? And I used to be like that too. And then I almost died. And then I was like, oh, that was a worse vision. Being at fucking heaven's doors or hell's gates. The difference between the two, whether you were intentional in your day-to-day or not, whether you were selfishly hedonistic or purposefully driven to relentlessly ascend every single solitary day. I have people in my family who struggle with these addictions. You would even say weed addiction runs in the family. I was doing that when I was 16 years old. I would get woken up by my friends to the sound of a 3-foot bong with a dab banger THC concentrate from dawn till dusk. I was a stoner. I was a fucking loser. And the thing that I would tell to him, it's not serving you at all. Those people are not friends with you. They are just friends with you because your mutual friend is pot. And you guys all feel comfortable together because you can share your little addiction. But you know deep down, it's harming you. You know deep down that if your brain wasn't fogged by fucking cannabinoids between your synapses, gummed up, making you fucking slow, you'd probably be able to think a little clearer. If you weren't constantly thinking about the next nut because you were addicted to porn, you'd probably be able to focus on some work that would actually benefit the future of yourself rather than the hedonistic pursuit of fleeting pleasure in the current moment that will never fill that bucket. And so with that, when these vices come up, realize that they don't serve you. You don't need to fight with them. You just need to view them like a parasite. You are not your addiction. You just kind of got a parasite on you. And you're going to have to overcome it. It'll take about 2 weeks to get through the withdrawal process. And in the meantime, put as many barriers between you and that thing as possible. Because it's hard to even observe the future when you're addicted to something. And that's what's fucking scary. I promise you that when you get sober from these vices, from these addictions, your perception of time changes. You are able to conceive and fully understand the concept of a future. You will never be able to make progress in your life slower than your speed of personal development. The more promises you break to yourself, the more secrets that you keep, the more guilt that you contain, the more stuck you are. And that is why you keep repeating these negative cycles. It's because there is a level that you need to accept. There's a challenge that you need to take. And you need to finish it. And it's self-mastery. Because until then, life is just a cycle of chasing the next thing that feels good. If you are interested in the frameworks, the mindfulness practices to allow you to place all the barriers between you and your vices with one-on-one guidance, I've got all the stuff I put in my program that allowed me to overcome all my vices, all the mental visualization tricks in a program, as well as a health and fitness program. And if you truly are ready to accept that challenge and take on the next level of your personal development, and you're ready to stop making excuses to yourself every single time you let yourself down, schedule a call and I will get you situated. I'm begging you to be more intentional, brother. To look at your life, to see something that other people have that you're secretly jealous and envious of, and instead of saying, "Oh, I wish I could get lucky like that," you see that and you say, "That's me." Instead of walking through your day to day thinking that the world is against you, I want you to be in a state where you're in full flow with your day to day and you are in alignment with the highest version of yourself. And no longer are you struggling to stop doing your vices. You just don't do them because that's not who you are anymore. I'm begging you to stop doing these vices, brother, because they limit your ability to see what's really important. And I wish I could explain it to you, but it's indescribable. I promise it is not helping you, brother. The voice of God, the voice of intuition, the voice of the universe, it gets exponentially louder with the more vices you chip away at, with the more presence you bring toward yourself, and with the more enlightened you get from pursuing knowledge instead of entertainment. You must value progress over entertainment. The bar is so fucking low. And it might seem like it's really hard because the people around you are fucking not driven or ambitious. I'm telling you, brother, the bar is so fucking low. There has never been an easier time to beat those around you. In your health and fitness, in your business, in your job. But it sure as hell makes it hard when you're not vice free. And so, with that, brother, I ask you to relentlessly ascend every single day, just 1% better. Set up systems that take you to still making growth even on your worst days. Set a goal and visualize yourself, and believe that there are better days ahead of you. Because the contrary is bringing worse days towards you because you believed it.